You ever have a moment where someone sizes you up to sides? Right there, you're less than them, like your dreams are just funny little things that'll never take flight? Yeah, that happened to me at 17. Right there at JFK, Gate B23, with a crumpled Ascend Air ticket sweating in my palm and a head full of wild ideas about what it'd feel like to really fly above everything I'd ever known. And let me tell you, I still remember the sound of the captain's laugh, that snort he made when he saw meth kind that says, "You don't belong here, kid." That laugh? It was about to cost him everything, and the universe was going to make sure he felt every ounce of it at 40,000 feet. The air in JFK that June afternoon was thick, full of the usual chaos announcements echoing, folks bumping shoulders, eyes glued to phones. But for me, Amara, Washington, it was all music, every sound a reminder that I was on my way to the sky, no matter what seat I had. I clung to that ticket like it was gold, because to me it was proof that for the price of 2 movie tickets, I could touch the clouds. Cheap? Maybe. But freedom never cared much for price tags. I'd always blended in just another quiet girl with a backpack, hiding in books about flight and the shape of the universe, dreaming about aerodynamics while everyone else dreamed of summer. But when the crew strode in, all pressed uniforms and power moves, suddenly I was visible. Captain Rostian led the pack, tall and stone-faced, silver in his hair, looking at folks like he was grading them on a curve. His eyes flicked to me, just a second, and moved on. But the damage was done. I waited till they called Zone 5 dead last, of course. When it was finally my turn, I handed my ticket to the agent. I was just about to walk down the jet bridge when Captain Rostian, leaning on the wall with the first officer, stopped me with a smirk that you could feel from across the terminal. "Hold up a second," he said, waving at my battered pass, his voice loud enough for a crowd. "Zone 5? Last one on, first one off if you're lucky." The first officer looked away, embarrassed. But Rostian kept going, telling everyone how he liked to guess why folks like me ended up with bargain seats runaways, jilted lovers, you name it. That's the thing about people who love their own voices, they never notice the crowd go quiet. Everyone stared. I could feel the burn in my cheeks, but I wasn't going to let him see me flinch. "No, sir," I told him, my voice steady as I could make it. "Just visiting my mom." He leaned in, all fake concern. "Well, for her sake, let's hope this old bird gets you there. Ascend Air's not exactly famous for, not falling apart midair." Then, real low, like he was giving me stock tips, "If you want to fly with class, you gotta afford more than scraps, kid." He flicked my ticket, "This is for bottom feeders." That word bottom feeder rang in my head, echoing every time someone decided I didn't belong. I lifted my chin, looking him dead in the eye. "Flying is flying, Captain. The physics don't change just because the ticket's cheap." For a split second, I saw something flicker in his eyes, maybe shock, maybe anger. He turned away, laughing like he'd just crushed a bug, and disappeared into the cockpit. I boarded, every step heavy with the memory of his sneer, of all those eyes on me. I found my seat in the back, next to the bathroom, pushed my forehead against the window, and stared out across the tarmac. Out past the taxiing planes, in the far-off private hangars, sat a midnight blue jet, lined so sleek it made the 737 look like a school bus. On the tail, painted in silver script, was one word: Amara. My name, my secret, my future. Rostian thought he knew who he'd just humiliated. He didn't have a clue. The flight to Atlanta was as awful as promised hot, cramped, noisy. But I barely noticed. My head was filled with schematics, jet engines, the sweet anticipation of seeing my mom, the real reason I was flying. Dr. Aries, Washington mother, the legend, the woman whose ideas changed the way planes could fly. When I saw her waiting in arrivals, her arms wide, I melted in her hug and let every hurt slip away. "There's my girl," she said, warmth and pride in her eyes. As we walked, I told her what happened, every word, every look. She listened, her face turning fierce. "Some people," she said, "can only feel big by making others feel small. But you stood your ground, Amara. I'm proud of you. Never forget you belong up there." That fire in her voice, it burned away the shame Rostian tried to stick on me. But we didn't head home. We went to a private airfield outside Atlanta, real destination. There, under the Georgia sun, waited the Amara, our jet, not just named after Mebwell by me and my mom. Hours spent learning, soldering, dreaming together while other kids played video games. That plane wasn't just a machine, it was a promise. We stepped inside. Plush leather, wood polished to a mirror, tech everywhere, but it was the cockpit, those magic glass panels, and a side stick, all designed by our own hands. We spent the afternoon tweaking systems, arguing about airflow and control surfaces the way only real partners can. I was home. Then Mom's phone buzzed. She read a message, her face tightening. "Amara," she said, "your Ascend Air flight emergency landing. Total electrical failure. They're stuck at a tiny field in North Carolina, with a storm rolling in." My heart flipped. Rostian, the big man, was grounded, and the only fix for his plane was a part sitting right in our Gita part Mom and I had built. You know what I mean? Karma's got timing. A call came through to Rostian in the dark cockpit. The only aircraft able to land at that strip, the only one with the right part? The Amara, flown by the very girl he'd called a bottom feeder. The controller made sure he knew it, to lead engineer, DR. Washington, traveling with her daughter. We flew out, cutting through rain and lightning. Our jet handled the storm like it was born for it, gliding onto that tiny runway, smooth as silk. When we stepped out, me in jeans and sneakers, Mom all business, the stranded passengers pressed to the windows, their faces full of hope. Rostian stood in the rain, stripped of his swagger. Mom didn't bother with pleasantries. "Captain, I'm DR. Washington. We're here to help." He nodded, silent. He looked at me, recognition hitting like a punch. I wasn't just a kid with a cheap ticket, I was the person saving his reputation, maybe his life. I led our team, patching up the mess in his avionics bay. Rostian hovered, useless, while my hands did what his couldn't. After hours, sweat, and nerves and focus, I finished. I looked at him, "Captain, you should power her up." He did, and when the plane roared back to life, cheers broke out. But the look in his eyes wasn't relief. It was something deep, crumbling of everything he thought he knew. At sunrise, Rostian stood before his passengers and told them everything. No hiding, no sugarcoating. He owned up to his arrogance, his words, his mistake with me. And you know what? The crowd applauded not him, but me and the truth. He lost his job, his reputation, everything built on pride and cheap shots. But maybe he found something better, a chance to be honest, to start again. The story blew up online, Pullet shame, and Amara the Angel trending. News outlets everywhere running with the tale of the captain humbled by a girl and her jet. Ascend Air was fined, shamed, nearly bankrupted. But for me and Mom, it was a beginning. Our phone rang off the hook: investors, contractors, schools. We turned down the big checks and chose a foundation to fund new programs, bringing young women, kids from every background into aviation, showing them you didn't need a first-class ticket to build the future. Years passed. I got my doctorate at MIT, mentored the next wave, took Amara 2 up above the clouds with Maya Fierce, brilliant kid who reminded me so much of myself. One day, landing at a small airport in Maine, I saw Rostian again, older, humbled, teaching new pilots with a patience he never showed me. We shook hands, and in his quiet regret, I saw the circle close, not punishment, but growth. Not revenge, but something like redemption. So, if you're still listening, maybe you felt it too, those moments when someone tries to keep you down, but life gives you the runway to rise above it. The sky has a long memory. It'll test your limits, your heart, your character. But in the end, it's not about where you start, it's about how high you're willing to fly. Let me know, do you believe people can really change after being humbled, or does karma just give us what we deserve? Drop your thoughts below. If you felt something from this story, hit like, share it with a friend, and make sure you're subscribed for more real stories where justice and second chances collide. The sky's wide open, and every dreamer has a place in it. What will you do when your turn comes?